A light is shining from above, and so there's a lovely highlight that I can see just here on my apple. And I'm going to be using 3 types of pencils. In order of darkness, I've got a 5H. It's only ever going to be lovely and light. 2B, totally capable of lovely darks. And if I press lightly, it's capable of going lovely and light as well. Final pencil I've got is an 8B. And capable of beautiful darks. My plan is to sketch the outline in 5H and easy to rub out, and then the 2B to start adding some texture, and the 8B for some lovely darks. So I've also got a kneadable eraser. The first thing I want to do is establish the shape. I've got the basics of the shape. Kneadable eraser to a point, just tidying up that line. Okay, back to the 2B. I'm going to start by indicating where I see the highlight. So this is my note to myself to avoid this area. I'm going to put down some lines that are all about the direction of the actual shape. So all of my lines will be following the curve of the apple, so they're kind of straight at that point, and as I go over to the other side of the apple. Right, now I'm just going to take off my highlight again. So I've been pressing really lightly, which means that removing is really easy. So that was the 2B, and now I'm going to switch to the 8B, put in some darker tones. I'm going to start with the stalk. And it's also got this tiny little shadow that goes quite dark next to it. I'm going to make the tone on the stalk itself just a little darker, so it's separate from the shadow tone. Just pressing a little harder with my 8B. Every time I put down a bit of tone, I'm going to be replicating the direction of the shape of the apple. And so all of my 2B marks went vertically. So as I start to add in some more tone, this time I'm going to go in the other direction. And then I'm going to add in some darker tones over where it appears darkest on my apple. Darker, darker, darker. Just extend them up so they make more sense. And then go in the cross section the other direction, again, this way. There's all different shapes of blenders. This one is a number 7. I'll just turn it around. I'm just going to do a little bit of blending. Start with the light tones first because the blender picks up all that graphite. Light tones first. Just avoiding my highlight. And I'll turn it around to the cleaner side and just blend. Oops, it's still not clean. I'll just rub it out. I'm going to put a little bit of tone on there. Keep that lovely direction going. And I'll just take off a little tiny bit so it's really light in the center. Okay, now that I've put a little bit of tone on it, what I'm going to do is go back to my 2B, just checking. Yes, it's a 2B. Oh, right up the right way there. 2B to add silly textures. So starting with fur, and in the lighter sections, you'll see the fur really well. It's going to stand out against my highlight. I'm just doing short fur, and then I'm going to switch back to the 8B and go darker. Darker pencil, you'll see over the darker marks. And then I'm going to extend some of them out so that you can see them. Go back to my 2B and add a little more texture. And there's a little too much there, so I'll just take some off with my kneadable. So there's little sections with no hair. Go back to my H. Okay, that's the 5H. I wonder how that would look in the light section. That's better. Tiny little sections. I'm going to leave a little bit with no hair at all. Slowly we get a hairy apple. Just put in a few more there. It's actually hard on the camera to see that there is texture just here. And then it's got this really beautiful shadow. So I'm going to go to my 8B and put in quite a short shadow, and it comes over here and around there. I'll bring my apple in closer, but I'm just going to put it in with my dark HB, 8B, leaving tiny little gaps. I'm inventing, I don't know if you would actually see the hair there or not, so I'm inventing that as it is. Around, and then I'm just going to blend out because the shadow is kind of blurry on its edge. Little bit of blending. Making the shadow a little bigger, but also blending the edge of the shadow. And I'm nearly done. I'm going to blend it in there as well. A little bit of blending there. Image, if I tilt it slightly, you can see that in the shadow there it is actually dark, and that I've blended the edge. And there's a bit of contrast between that shadow and that shadow. There you go. There's the hairy apple. Thanks for watching, guys.